Okay, so let's start the enemy. We are continuing with, yes, Gaurav, good afternoon, and it's good that you can listen to me. We are starting with the enemy. It would take another 2 classes to complete. Now, here last day we completed the page number 41, that so far I am telling that Dr. Sadao had gone to meet with the army general, the old army general, because he was suffering from, and after going there, after going there, he came back, and he saw that the man was coming out of his room. Then Dr. Sadao actually told the man not to go outside, and Dr. Sadao just waited for 3 nights. He actually he hoped that according to the plan that he had with the army general, that the murderers would come and they would kill the white American and they would take his body. But nobody had came. Okay. He waited, Dr. Sadao waited for 3 nights, but nobody came. Then Dr. Sadao actually changed his plan. He told the white American that you must escape from my house, and Dr. Sadao had made all the arrangements. He made all the arrangements for the escape of the white American. What he had made? Up to 44 we completed last day. Here it's marked there, I have marked in my book. Up to 44, just open at page number 44. We are reading with vistas, okay, vistas, and page number 44 here. The last first line we completed. The young man nodded in perfect comprehension. Okay, he said simply. Okay means what? Now Dr. Sadao told the man that he would escape from his house, and he by the help of his boat. Last day we discussed that Dr. Sadao had a boat, and with the help of that boat he told the white American that he should escape from my house. The white American actually understood. Comprehension means he realization. The American understood this. So let's start. I am starting from page number 41 from the 3rd line here. Just let's start. Page number 44. Page number 44 of vistas. Sadao did not see him again until evening. As soon as it was dark, he had dragged the stout boat down to the shore, and in it he put food and bottled water that he had bought secretly during the day, as well as 2 quails he had brought as a pawn shop. Dr. Sadao, after telling his plan to the white American, during the day he did not meet with the man. In the evening, when it was getting dark, Dr. Sadao had dragged means pulled, the stout, here stout means big or very hardy boat down to the seashore. Means Dr. Sadao had pulled his boat and he had dragged it to the seashore, and in that boat he had kept food and bottled water for the white American, and he had bought these food and bottled water secretly during the daytime. Not only that, he had bought 2 quilts. Quilts, you know, we use in the winter time. Quilts means lape, okay, that we use in winter time as our cover. So he bought 2 quilts from pawn shop. Pawn shop means a shop that lends money in exchange of valuable things. That is pawn shop. That exchange, pawn shop means a shop that lends the money in exchange of valuable things. Okay. So Dr. Sadao had bought 2 quilts from pawn shops, and he had bought food and dry food and bottled water during the day, and he had kept all these in the boat, and then he dragged the boat into the seashore. The boat he tied to a post in the water, for the tide was high, and as it was a high tide, so he just tied that. High tide was going on, so he tied the boat with a post in the seashore. There was no moon, and he walked without a flashlight. So Dr. Sadao was arranging everything. He dragged the boat into the seashore. and he tied the boat with a rope with a post in the seashore. And earlier he just kept food and bottled water into the boat for the white American. Not only that, 2 quilts that he had brought during the day. When he came to the house, he entered as though he were just back from his work, and so Hannah knew nothing. After doing all these arrangements, he just came home casually, as he comes every evening after doing his work, okay, and he did not tell anything about the plan to Hannah. Yumi was here today, she said, as she served his supper. Now in the evening time, Hannah was Hannah was serving Dr. Sadao his dinner. And in that time, actually Hannah told Dr. Sadao that Yumi was here today. Hannah told Dr. Sadao that Yumi had come that day. Though she was so modern, still she did not eat with him. This was Hannah's culture. Hannah was so modern, she was the wife of a doctor, but still this is the culture that she never ate with her husband. Okay, so Hannah was only giving food to Dr. Sadao, but she did not eat with Dr. Sadao. And in that time, Hannah informed Dr. Sadao that that day, Yumi, the woman who actually looked after their children, actually she had come that day. Yumi cried over the baby. She went on with a sigh. She misses him so. Hannah also told that Yumi cried over the baby, means Yumi came and she was crying for the baby, and Yumi actually was missing the baby very much. The servants, actually Hannah was telling all this information to Sadao when Sadao was taking his dinner. The servants will come back as soon as the foreigners is gone, Sadao said. Sadao told, yes, all the servants, not only Yumi, the gardener, the cook, all Yumi, they all would come back as soon as the foreigner is gone. And we know this is the very night, on that night only the foreigner would go from his house, because all the arrangements has already made. He had already made all the arrangements. The boat is ready at the seashore, and the boat is filled with packaged food and bottled water and quilts for the white American. But Sadao did not say a single word about the plan to Hannah. And that is why here Dr. Sadao told that the servants will come back as soon as the foreigner is gone. And he knew that that is the night, that night only the foreigner would go away. He went into the guest room that night before he went to bed himself and checked carefully the American's temperature, the state of the wound, and his hurt and pulse. Now, that night, this is the night. For the last time, Dr. Sadao went to meet with the white American. Going there, he checked him carefully. He checked the American's temperature. Dr. Sadao checked the wound that the American had, where Dr. Sadao had operated. Dr. Sadao felt his pulse, what was his pulse, and Dr. Sadao saw the temperature. The pulse was irregular, but that was perhaps because of excitement. Dr. Sadao felt that the pulse, the rhythm of the pulse was irregular, and that was probably the white man was so much excited, because that night he had to escape from Dr. Sadao's house. So he was so much excited, that probably the reason that he had an irregular pulse. The young man's pale lips were pressed together and his eyes burned. Only the scars on his neck were red. We know that a young man had scars in the neck, under the ear, and he did not say anything, and he pressed his lips. He did not say anything. Okay, he did not say anything to the doctor. I realize you are saving my life again, he told Sadao. Now ultimately the white American told Dr. Sadao that I realized, I understood that you were saving my life again. Why again? Because first time Dr. Sadao operated and he was successful in the operation in taking out the bullet that entered the white man's body. So this is the first time Dr. Sadao has saved his life, and this is the second time that Dr. Sadao was helping him to escape from his house. That is why the white American told that I realize you are saving my life again. Not at all, Sadao said. It is only inconvenient to have you here any longer. But Dr. Sadao was such a person that he did not take any credit for this. He did not demand that, yes, I am saving your life. He told, no, the matter is not like this. You know, this is inconvenient for me. Inconvenient means this has become difficult for me to keep you at my house, because everybody knows that you are at my house. That is why I have made the arrangement. Dr. Sadao did not demand for any credit that, yes, I am saving your life. But he was telling that because of the problem that I am having, that is why I have made the arrangement for you. He had hesitated a good deal about giving the man a flashlight. Now, ultimately, Dr. Sadao had a flashlight, and he was hesitating to give the flashlight to the white man. But he had decided to give it to him after all. It was a small one, his own, which he used at night when he was called. Dr. Sadao had his favorite flashlight, and he used to use this flashlight whenever he was called for a night call. Now, Dr. Sadao, without his hesitation, he had given this flashlight to the white American. These activities suggest that Dr. Sadao is no longer angry or no longer irritated with the white American. Yes, it is true that Dr. Sadao had made the arrangement for his escape only to keep him safe, but he had given his torchlight. It was not mandatory that a torchlight must be given to the white American, but the torchlight Dr. Sadao had given him of his own. These activities suggest that he, as if he had no anger left, or no irritation, or no dissatisfaction left with the white American. If your food runs out before you catch a boat, you said, signal me 2 flashes. At the same instant, the sun drops over the horizon. Now, after giving the flashlight, Dr. Sadao suggested something to the white man. He suggested that suppose after reaching to the island, suppose you, before you are catching a Korean fish, because according to the plan, the man must reach to the nearby island and he must wait there. He must wait there for a Korean fishing boat. Whenever the Korean fishing boat would come, he would catch the boat and he would go from there. So, suppose if your food runs out before you catch a boat, runs out means if your boat if your food completes, if your food finished before you could catch a fishing boat, then signal me 2 flashes at the same time when the sun drops over the horizon. This is very important. Dr. Sadao suggested the white man that suppose you are staying in that island and you have not got the fishing boat, then and your food has been finished, then you must give 2 flashes from the torchlight when at the time of twilight. Twilight means when it is the meeting time between afternoon and evening. At that time you must give 2 flashes of torchlight as a signal, and if I get this signal, then I could understand that your food has been finished. Do not signal in darkness, for it will be seen. Dr. Sadao warned the white American that you must not give the signal in the darkness, because if you in the darkness, if you flash the torch, then everybody could see. If you are all right but still there, signal me once. And Dr. Sadao told the man that if your food had been finished, then flashes the torchlight for twice. Suppose you are still there, your food is enough with you and you are still there in the island, then flashes for once. Okay? So, 2 flashes suggest the man is still there in the island, but his food had been finished. 1 flashes suggest the man is still there in the island and he is safe, but still he has not got any Korean fishing boat to escape from Japan. You will find fresh fish easy to catch, but you must eat them raw. Dr. Sadao also suggested the white American that as you are going to the island, so from that island it would be very easy to catch fresh fish, but if you catch fresh fish, if you catch fish from that sea water, you must eat them raw, because you cannot ignite light, ignite fire, because if you ignite fire, then everybody, the fire could be seen in the island, and everybody might be everybody might suspect that somebody was there in the island. A fire would be seen, he told, a fire would be seen. So do not create any fire, do not ignite any fire there, okay? Do not flash any fire there. If you wish, you may catch fish, but you must eat them raw. Okay, the young man agreed. The young man obediently told, okay. He was dressed now in the Japanese clothes which Sadao had given him, and at the last moment Sadao wrapped a black cloth about his blonde head. Now Sadao had also given him Japanese clothes. So this is just the moment before he was leaving Dr. Sadao's house. So he was wearing the Japanese clothes that Dr. Sadao had given him, and at the last moment Dr. Sadao had covered his blonde hair with a black cloth, because Japanese people don't have blonde hair. Blonde means golden yellowish. Only the white people is having that color. So if anybody could see the hair of that man, then he would suspect that this man is not a Japanese, though he was wearing Japanese clothes. So that is why Dr. Sadao covered his head with a black cloth to cover his blonde head. Blonde means golden yellowish. Now, Sadao said, now means this is the time, you go from there. The young American, without a word, shook Sadao's hand warmly and then walked quite well across the floor and down the step into the darkness of the garden. Now the young man did not say any word, but he shook hand with Dr. Sadao, he shook hand with Dr. Sadao, and he came downstairs, and quietly he came across the garden. He was going out finally, he was going out permanently from Dr. Sadao's house. Once, twice, Sadao saw his light flash to find his way. Sadao was standing in the veranda, and Sadao could see that the white man was going towards the shore where the boat is ready, and with the help of the boat he must go to that island. But in the way going to the shore, he just flashed the light twice, 1, 2. But that would not be suspected. But Sadao knew, no, this is evening time, anybody could roam around with a torchlight, so that light could not be suspected. He waited until from the shore there was one more flash. Then he closed the partition. The night he slept. And in the seashore he saw another more flash. He waited up to this, and then he slept. And that night he slept peacefully. Because previous 3 nights he waited and waited and waited for the murderers to come. Nobody came, but he did not have a good sleep previous 3 nights. Now that night, when the American escaped Sadao's house, went from Sadao's house, then he slept, okay, he slept peacefully. You say the man escaped, the general asked faintly. Afterwards, Dr. Sadao had gone to treat the army general, because he had an operation, he needed an operation. So after going there, Dr. Sadao operated the man, and after going there, Dr. Sadao told the army general that the man had escaped from his house. So seeing, just listening this, the army general asked this to Dr. Sadao, you say the man escaped? The general asked faintly. He had been operated soon a week before, an emergency operation to which Sadao had been called in the night. So 1 week before, Dr. Sadao performed an operation to the army general at night. Dr. Sadao was called, and Dr. Sadao had to perform an operation. For 12 hours, Sadao had not been sure the general would leave. The gallbladder was much involved. It was the operation for the gallbladder, and after doing the operation, Dr. Sadao was not sure whether the man would leave or not, okay, for 12 hours. Before Dr. Sadao operated the man, he told that the white man has escaped from my house. Then the old man had begun to breathe deeply again and to demand food. Then after that 12 hours, the old man, means the old army general, he just started to deep breathe, and he just demanded food, means he started to survive. Sadao had not been able to ask about the assassins. In that time, when the man was just getting back his consciousness after his operation, in that moment Dr. Sadao did not ask any word about the murderers. So far as he knew, they had never come, and afterwards 1 week had passed, and during that week Dr. Sadao knew nobody came. The servants had returned and Yumi had cleaned the guest room thoroughly and had burned sulfur in it to get the white man's smell out of it. So as soon as everybody came to know that the white man has escaped the Dr. Sadao's house, so their servant, the old gardener, the cook and Yumi, who used to look after the children, they all have returned to Dr. Sadao's house. Not only that, the room where the white American stayed in Dr. Sadao's house, in that room Yumi burned sulfur, and burning sulfur is having a very strong smell that sometimes in the when we just do our pujas, we burn raisins, that is known as dhuno, okay, dhuno, so having a nice smell. So here Yumi burned sulfur in that room of Dr. Sadao where the white American stayed, so that no smell was there of the white American, that Yumi had done it. He burned, this might be important question, that what did Yumi do to get away the smell, to drive away the smell from that room? He burned sulfur. Nobody said anything, only the gardener was cross because he had got behind with his chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum is one kind of flower. So the gardener, the cook and Yumi were very happy to get back to Dr. Sadao's house. Only the gardener was very sorry because he had to leave away, he had to get away from chrysanthemum, because the gardener was so involved with the flower, with the plant, with the moss garden, that he was unhappy. He was unhappy after going away from that house, but now he was okay. But after a week, Sadao felt the general is well enough to be spoken to about the prisoner. Now after a week, Dr. Sadao felt that army general, the old general, he was getting well from the operation, and now he could talk with the army general. Yes, Excellency, he escaped, Sadao now said, after 1 week of the operation. Before operation, Sadao only told the army general that the white man escaped. After this 1 week had passed, then after 1 week, Dr. Sadao told the army general, yes, Excellency, he escaped. He coughed, signifying that he had not said all that he might said, but was unwilling to disturb the general further. He coughed when he told, yes, Excellency, the white man escaped. Then he coughed. It means he wanted to conceal something. Yes, we know what he wanted to conceal. Because the man did not escape, Dr. Sadao helped him to escape from his house. That he did not tell to the army general. He did not tell the army general that he helped the white man to escape. He told the white man escaped from his house because he did not want to disturb the army general. But the old man opened his eyes suddenly. The old man, he was lying in that bed and he just opened his eyes suddenly. That prisoner, he said with some energy, did I not promise you that I would kill for him? Now the army general remembered that he had promised to Dr. Sadao that he would send 2 murderers to his house to kill the army general, to the white American. Now the army general, as if he remembered, and he told Sadao that, did I not promise that I would kill the man for you? You did, Excellency, Sadao said. Sadao told, yes, Excellency, you did. Well, the old man said in a tone of amazement. Now the old man was very much surprised. So I did. The old man told, yes, I promised. But you see, I was suffering a good deal. Now the army general was telling to Dr. Sadao, you see, I am suffering. The truth is, I thought of nothing but myself. In short, I forgot my promise to you. The army general here admitted, the army general accepted to Dr. Sadao that yes, I had promised that I would send 2 murderers to your house so that they could kill the white American. But the truth is, I had forgotten about it. I wondered, Your Excellency, Sadao murmured. Sadao told, I wondered, I am surprised that you have forgotten. Today, up to this, it's time up. So next day, we will definitely complete this chapter, the enemy. Today, I feel you have understood so far, we have completed. So till then, it's goodbye. In my next class, Next day we will complete this chapter.